Assalamu alaikum students. So in today's class we are going to discuss the paper 4 that is relevant to business strategy. So we all know that paper 4 is recently introduced in 2023 with changes in paper pattern, and since then it's become quite difficult for students to attempt the paper 4 effectively. Why? Because of lack of planning and lack of analyzing the data, lack of information about how to attempt the paper, and obviously the structure is a bit different as compared to previous papers in which 8 and 12 marks questions were being assessed. But in this particular paper the pattern is a bit different, and the questions and the assessment objectives marks that are allocated to assessment objectives are also different. So we will try to look at into paper 4 business strategy in our today's lesson, and we are going to assess some tips to analyze and attempt the paper 4 effectively. So let's just begin. So objectives of today's lesson is that in this class you will be able to understand the paper pattern that is specifically for paper 4 based on case study known as business strategy, and then we are going to discuss the content for the preparation of paper effectively, and afterwards we are going to discuss the types of questions. That is very important actually, because we are going to analyze the types of questions the examiner has been asking for the past couple of years, and we are going to categorize those questions into two parts, into two ways, and we are going to discuss these two types of questions in detail in today's lesson. So that is why this lesson is going to be quite important for you students. And at the end we are going to analyze the case study. We are going to give you some tips and tricks how you can study the case study in the examination effectively to grasp information, and obviously there are some tricks at the end of the lesson. So let's just begin. Paper pattern, basically this paper is P4, name is business strategy, and it comprises of 40 marks. The 40 marks paper is further divided into two questions, and each question carry 20 marks, and total marks are 40, and the time allowed to attempt the paper 4 is 1 hour and 15 minutes, that is 75 minutes. So this is all about paper 4, and obviously you will be provided with the case study. We are going to assess the data and the information, both qualitative and quantitative data provided in the case study, and then going to answer the two questions. Both questions are compulsory. There are no choice. There is no choice in that paper, in paper 4. Let me tell you. So you need to prepare the paper very effectively. So moving quickly towards our next topic, that is the types of P4 questions. So I have analyzed the paper, all the papers previously, and I have seen that a specific pattern is being followed in paper 4. You can categorize the questions into two forms. Number one is timeline questions. So timeline questions are basically questions that are being provided on the basis of timeline, in which year to year information changes, in which year to year information is being provided. So you need to analyze the information that has happened in the past with respect to number of years, and you are going to analyze and evaluate the information that the business case study has provided you. So this is one type of question. You will be asked question based on timeline of these papers. And number two, the question will be about the future business strategy. So for the sake of information, let me just give you an example of timeline questions. So timeline questions assess your knowledge of the historical events. The examiner will provide you the detail of the business and strategies the business have adopted, the changes that has happened with the businesses, the external environmental changes, the information will be provided with respect to the number of years. Like for example, he will provide the information from 2008 to 2019. For the sake of example, I can show you the papers, two or three papers in which examiner have asked the similar questions, and it is the same pattern followed throughout in your paper 4. So first type of question will always be an evaluation questions in which that will be based on timeline. So this is, as you can see, the paper 4 business strategy, and this is the specimen paper, and here you can clearly see that this is the timeline of RF's strategy for growth. So timeline question means the question that is based on the years, the times for the past years, and you are need to you will be needed to assess the business performance in all those years and evaluate the performance on the in all those years based on your analysis. So if we can see that what has happened between 2008 and 2014, and what happened 2015, what happened 2016, and what happened 2018, and what happened 2019. So first question will be based on all these years, and obviously you need to see the appendices as well. So we can see that first question is a timeline question. So this is an example of timeline question. Evaluate the RF strategy for growth between 2008 and 2009. The examiner has specifically mentioned you the time frame in which you are going to assess the performance of the business. Obviously, it is relevant to the past years, and you need to evaluate whether the strategies, whether the course of actions that the business has adopted in those years were successful, and if successful, why these were successful. You need to assess the factors on the basis of which you are going to assess the performance and give your opinion. So this is how you are going to attempt timeline questions, and obviously in these timelines you need to analyze and evaluate at least four specific important events that has happened that has changed the business in a specific way. And another example can also be seen in another paper. So this is also the paper for business strategy, and this is the paper for of May June 2023. And here we can see the timeline is also being provided from 2015 to 2022. So this is also first question will always be based on the timeline, and the information is being provided year wise, and appendices is also given for further information for clarifying the further data. So question is evaluate whether LH made the correct strategic decision to take over PS. So this is about the decision that the LH has taken in its past previously, right? So we can see that he has taken decision to take over LS into 2018. So we are going to assess the information in 2018 based on 2015, 2017 data, 2018 data, what happened in 2018, and the after effects of 2019, 2020 information. So this is a timeline question. And again, another paper, let me show you another paper that is also May June 2023 paper, but this time it is variant 2. And here again we can see the timeline is being provided, the timeline is being given. So first question will always be based on this particular timeline, and we can see that yes, evaluate the extent to which leadership contributed to BV's effective strategic management between 2019 and 2022. Again, examiner has asked you to analyze the key events, the key strategies the business has adopted in the past, the key course of actions that has happened in the past, assess the performance of the business between 2019 and 2022 based on their effective leadership and how leadership have contributed towards their strategic management approach. So this is what you are going to do, assess between 2019 and 2022. So this is also a timeline based question. Hopefully I have cleared all of your doubts. So we can conclude that first question will always be based on timeline, and it will always be an evaluation based question based on the past record, past data, past information of the business, and you are going to analyze and evaluate what has happened into the past, and what could have changed it, what could have improved its performance, and where the business were wrong, but where the performance decreased, what led to decrease in the performance of business, and what could have improved the performance of business. We are going to analyze and evaluate these factors that has happened in the key timelines in the past. Okay, so hopefully I have uh, cleared the concept of first question that is being asked in P4. Now, the second question is always a future oriented question in which the examiner will ask you to advise on the future business strategy. It can be an overall business strategy, corporate strategy. It can be based on overall strategic analysis, strategic implementation, strategic choices, and it can also be based on the departmental strategy. For example, it can be based on operations strategy, marketing strategy, or it can be relevant to your financial strategy and your human resource strategy. So examiner may ask you about the overall business strategy, or a strategy that is relevant to a specific business functional department. For example, marketing department, marketing strategy, operations department, operation strategy, and finance department, financial strategy, and HR department, human resource strategy. So the question 2 will be based on future course of action in which you are going to advise on how to make effective business strategy. So examiner, in this particular scenario, you need to consider yourself as a business analyst that can provide solutions to the business with informed, on the basis of informed judgments based on the data that is being provided to you by the examiner. So second question will always start from advice. So previously it was not there, but this time around with the changes in pattern, the second question will always based on advice. So you need to select a specific course of action. Let me give you some example of that to help you clarify the questions. So here we can see the second question is based on advise the board of directors. So in this particular situation, you are supposed to be a business consultant that can advise the businesses how they can form an effective marketing strategy, what are the elements of effective marketing strategy, to what are the key areas on which you can consider how you can conduct market research, what are the marketing objectives, and how you can make effective marketing strategy based on 4Ps and all these things. I'm not going into detail of marketing strategy, but for right now I'm just discussing how examiner can ask you second question. So in this particular question, it is based on marketing strategy. So it is not based on overall business strategy, but specifically to marketing department. And you can see that the question starts from advice. So you need to advise, you need to choose a specific course of action and give the reasons, justifications why you have chosen that particular course of action based on some solid evidences, solid strategic analysis that you have conducted on the information that is provided to you by the examiner. So this is how you are going to attempt the second question. And another example is, again, we can see that advice on, so on which approaches she should use to develop a new business strategy. So in this particular question, again it starts from advice, and in this particular question, examiner is asking you about the overall approaches that you may consider before forming a new business strategy. So this is an open-ended question, and you can use any type of strategic analysis like SWOT, best, Porter's five force analysis, and blue ocean strategies also there, core competencies, and so this is an open-ended question. You can use any two, three, four, any 3 to 4 approaches for effective analysis with with the valuation. So this is relevant to overall business strategy. But again, the purpose is to tell you that it will start from advice. So first question will always start from evaluation question, in which both sided arguments need to be given, balanced arguments, balanced analysis, and it will always be a timeline question, which time frame will be provided. And second question will always be a future relevant question, that will start from advice, and it will always be a strategy based question. Hopefully I have analyze both of the questions in P4, and that will give you a clear understanding what is being required by examiner, how you are going to be assessed, and that will help you in planning your P4 and attempting, it will improve your attempting techniques as well. So moving back to our next. Next we have how to read the case study effectively. I will give you some tips and tricks how you can effectively read the case study. I obviously that is the most important thing in examination, to read the case study, analyzing the information, scrutinizing the important facts and figures, scrutinizing the quantitative and qualitative data that is been provided to you in the case study in the form of appendices. Appendices are also very important. So I advise students to just read it out the case study for at least 10 to 15 minutes. You must give the case study at least 10 to 15 minutes, and read it properly and try to comprehend the information. You just need to underline the information for application purposes, and you need to underline the information for analysis purposes, on the basis of which you are going to analyze in your solution, in your answer. So at least 10 to 15 minutes must be given to the case study, and you should look into the information based on facts and figures, any financial data that is being provided to you in the form of ratios, any comparisons given, any qualitative information given, any analysis that is being conducted, SWOT test in the case study, any choices that has been provided to you, any strategic decisions that a business, any options available for businesses. So you need to scan for these informations. So this information will always help you out to prepare your mind, prepare your question in your mind before start writing. So planning, if you spend some time in planning, it will always help you out while attempting the question. Again, other points are you should scan for positive and negative information, where the business has performed well, where the business has not performed well. You can also scan for where the gaps are there, where the gaps are present in the which information is not being provided. This information obviously will help you out while evaluating while the evaluation of the points, and obviously you need to scan for external information, external environment analysis. The external environment information, external market information will be in the form of macroeconomic environment, or legal environment, or changes in overall, you may conduct pest analysis or other information provided to you. So you need to scan for external environment information about the markets, trends. So look for these information. And obviously it is always helpful to look for business objectives in the form of mission statements provided to you, or vision statements, or business objectives that has been provided to you by the examiner. It will help you out for while attempting the question. And obviously the stakeholder demands, the impact on the stakeholders. So these are the key information points that you need to scan for in your case study. Hopefully with practice, you will be able to improve your reading and scanning for information, and obviously it will be able to, obviously this will help you out to read your case study and scan your case study effectively. And obviously when you have studied the case study in an effective manner, you will be able to answer the questions in more effective way. So this is all from today's lesson. Hopefully I've answered all of your queries, and if there is any query, further questions that needs to be addressed, you may ask me directly. For now, I think we are good to go, and hopefully this class has resulted in improvement in your understanding of paper, and hopefully this will help you out while attempting your paper in CIs. Thank you. Allah Hafiz. Take good care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.